Welcome, guys. This is exciting that we are here. We're very excited to bring you some information that hopefully will help everybody's firm online. And what we're going to be doing is kind of going through some tools and some best practices to establish your firm, large or small, online. This can sometimes often be overlooked of how important it is. So we're very excited to share some of these things, and we'll go ahead and get started. So my name is Jordan Huneycutt. I am the co-founder of Prime Legal. We established Prime Legal to really kind of work out the best practices for attorneys. Attorneys in law firms have different needs online than, say, a restaurant or a different type of business. So really kind of having that niche and understanding what needs to be done to have a successful online presence with a law firm is what our goal was. And I've been in, I call it the game, right? But I've been in the digital realm for over 10 years. And I can't tell you how much has changed. I mean, just in the past year, not yet alone 10 years. So I'm really excited to kind of bring this to you guys.
And I'm Austin Hoffman. I'm the head of product here over at Prime Legal. What I do is I basically work with Jordan and our team members to get the most up-to-date products and be able to put them together in different types of campaigns that are effective for all of our clients. So we run at developing new products past that.
So a little bit about what we're going to cover today. We're going to go over a little bit about us and our partnerships, but the basics of an online presence. What is it? How does it operate? And what can it do for you at the end of the day? The Google My Business is probably the most important. We'll spend some time on that. Kind of going over some website standards. I know a lot of attorneys may build their own website and host their own website and do their own SEO, and that's perfectly fine. There's a lot of companies that are doing this for firms. So really kind of holding accountable what you have and making sure it is built for performance, and it really ultimately converting clients who are visiting or who may not be a client yet into a client who signs with you. So we'll go over website standards. Also, one of the big elephants in the room of digital when it comes to practicing law is social media. So what is acceptable? What's good? What's bad? What's ugly? So we'll kind of go over that and kind of paint a basic overview of what a really good structured social media looks like for a law firm. We'll also talk about search engine optimization. Search engine optimization simply means when somebody is looking for a type of law or type of practice, that your firm comes up. You're optimizing yourself to earn trust from Google and the other search engines to ensure that you're the one that shows up on a search. So SEO, search engine optimization, we'll be covering that. Austin will be kind of taking over and talking to you about analytics, which is just kind of understanding what measurables are out there when it comes to your online presence. So we'll be looking at that, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers. A lot of the questions that we've heard in the past are very good questions. So no question is a dumb question. Never feel that way. And really, the online realm itself can be very confusing and it can be very overwhelming at times, but we're going to keep this very simple and make it to where you understand what it is, how it works, and what it can do for you. So Prime Legal, as I mentioned, we specialize in working with attorneys online. Law firms from a solo practitioner all the way up to a 50-person law firm. So this is what we've done, and we've gotten endorsements from several bar associations, and we really like to work with bar associations because what we kind of do is offer a benefit of breaking down somebody's online presence by producing a digital audit. So through this, you'll kind of hear us talking about different pain points and what does and doesn't work. And that's why we're partnering up with a lot of these bar associations. So essentially, we're going to be talking about, why is digital marketing important for my law firm? When people hear digital marketing, immediately they're thinking, oh, I don't spend money on advertising. Okay, well, the digital footprint that your law firm has or doesn't have is not something that you're always paying for. There's a lot of tools that we're going to cover today that are available to firms that are no cost at all. So a lot of people don't even realize they have an online presence. They've been practicing law for 20, 30 years, but yet you still have an online presence. So this is something that Google does, and we'll kind of cover that in the future. But for now, we're just going to kind of take a look at why is it important to be online for a law firm? And so we're going to kind of talk about some of the tech tools that are available, and out of all of these different tech tools that I can be using for my firm, which is the most important for me? So your digital foundation matters with so many reasons. One, you could be a very niche firm that only takes on 5 to 10 clients that may be huge clients, small, mid-size, whatever, and you might not be ever looking for new clientele, but a lot of the times your clients will still utilize Google and your presence and your website to be in contact with you and make sure that they're always getting a hold of you. There's tons of different tools and components out here, so we're going to be kind of covering which is the best for you. We're also going to talk about what organic is versus advertising. Like I've always had this stipulation of whenever I mention digital, they're thinking, oh, I've just got to spend a ton of money to do this. So we're going to talk about the organic sense where there's no money spent. But we're also going to cover what advertising looks like and what those components look like. Also, we're going to look at the average spend on law firms each year from a national standpoint and what that should be for you. If your law firm is wanting to grow, then there's a lot that you can kind of model your firm off of based on the numbers that we've gathered. And also reporting the facts. One cool thing about us is we are a Google Premier partner, which means that we have a lot of firms that we're managing their Google. We're doing ads for them, and we are doing so much that Google has made us a premier partner, meaning that we get a lot of algorithm updates and things that are going to be happening or changes that are happening in order to make sure that our firms are still successful online.
So with all that being said, we've taken a look at a bunch of different studies. And so are people really using the internet to find an attorney? So from what we've found is over 39% of clients that start looking online for a lawyer whenever they're trying to look for one. Over 96% of people looking for legal advice really start online. So they say, do I have a case? If they're going through a divorce, then they look online to see who they need to get in contact with. Different scenarios like that. And then 84% of law firms plan to increase their spending on digital marketing, technology, and programs moving forward in 2022 and past that as well. There's a lot of tech tools out there, so we'll go over those, both paid and free. There's some where you can make hundreds of changes from one dashboard across all your different types of search engines like Google, Yelp, Yahoo, Bing, different things like that if you're closed. There's tons of different tools that you can check your statistics on your stuff. So you can check listing reports, stats, you can check website stats across everything, advertising stats across everything. And also there's tons of platforms out there that you're able to respond to reviews instantly on. So whether you get a good or bad review, you want to be responding to those types of reviews. And there's plenty of dashboards that instantly notify you when those reviews come onto your platform or to your listings.
So the Google My Business page is essentially a profile for your business on Google. It is a public platform. A lot of people wish they could take reviews off. We'll talk about reviews later, but for now, we're going to talk about what the Google My Business is, how it operates, how you can claim yours if you do not have full access to it, and what it can do for your firm.
So your Google My Business is a free basic version for everybody. So whenever you go on Google and you type in different things like lawyer near me or personal injury lawyer near me, it's on the right side of the screen that basically pulls up the listings, or you can move into the map section. So what if Google My Business does for you is it boosts trust in your law firm. So if you have a bunch of 5-star reviews, people are more likely to click on your listing or go to your website because other people have recommended you on the Google My Business listing. It also increases your website traffic. So if you have claimed your Google My Business, and you're in good standing with it and everything is up to date, it's going to push more traffic to your website. It has tons of call to actions on it, so you could post on it different things. People can click to call you on it. They can click directions to your actual office. They can save your business in case they need to, or they can click on your website past that. And then as well as see your hours, make appointments, about you, photos, reviews, everything as well as that. And it gives you a really solid organic reporting from all of your basic rankings on Google. Setting up your Google My Business is really easy. If you do not have it set up already, you can go to google.com/business. You'll then search for your business name. You'll fill out all the requirements on it. So you'll enter your business address, you'll do your phone number, the list of your services, it'll ask for photos, and then it will ask you for a specific service that you offer. And then it's also going to run you through a verification to make sure you're a legit business. So it could email you a verification code, it could call you to verify, or it might send you a postcard in the mail that will take about 5 days to get to you. That will give you that verification code. And then from there, you'll have to log back into google.com/business, enter that verification in, and then you're verified and you can start updating your listing across Google. It's also a great place to manage it. So you can edit your profile once you're verified. You can update your business hours if you're going to be out. If you add a new service, you can add it to it. If you get a new phone number, you can adjust that. If you want to post about a case that you just won, you can post on there as well. Add photos to help you stand out. So a lot of people don't actually add photos to their Google My Business listing, but what we always suggest it because it helps you stand out past other people. And you're also able to connect with the people that are searching online for your types of services. So there's now a new chat functionality that if you have the Google My Business app, you can actually chat back and forth with potential leads before they even become a client, and you don't have to give out your personal information like your email or your phone number past that. Just a great way to connect with your potential people that are wanting to hire you for different types of services.
You can actually also put a scheduling tool on there where people can request to meet with you, whether it be over Zoom or whether it be in person. So the Google My Business is one of the most important aspects of the online digital realm. And like Austin was saying, updating your photos. I can't tell you enough how much that builds trust when people can actually see who they're going to be dealing with. Instead of the photo that it will provide, usually it will take the address that your firm is operating, and it will take the Google image from Google Earth, and that is your profile picture. So updating that, putting your logo on there, putting all the things that make up your firm is one of the most important things on that Google My Business page. Moving into this, we're going to kind of talk about just standards of websites. We're not going to be talking about a lot of the technical jargon. We're just going to be very cut and dry with what we talk about on what a good website looks like, what it should have. And it's not just we think it should be this way. This is based on several hundreds of studies on how potential clients react or see something on a website, and it entices them to either do something on your website or it entices them to go to the next one. So we'll kind of talk about that. So the big question is, everybody may have websites, but what is that website doing for you? Okay, I always say, I don't care if somebody spends $10 on a website or $100,000 on a website. Is that website doing what it's meant to do, which is show up on a search, but more importantly, when people are going to the website, is it converting them? So there's a lot of different aspects that go into a good website. For instance, the number one is one of the most important and most focused on of the 2022 years is it 100% secure? Website security is one of the most important things you can have. There's several websites that may have been secure in the past that are not anymore. And there are checkers that you can kind of run your website through to see if you are up to date with all of the security standards set for 2022. But there are a lot of different places that kind of warn against, and I'm talking about the security measures, warn against people can go in and take over a website if it's not secure, and they can hold it ransom, or you might just have to fold and get a new domain. And that's the last thing you want to do. The longer you have your domain, which is www.xyzfirm.com, the longer you have that up and running and the more traffic that goes to it, the more authority it has to rank for things. So what else goes into that besides security? Also mobile responsiveness. We know majority of clientele will be finding you and interacting with your website on a mobile device. So there is a separate version of a website made that is specifically made for a mobile device. So it has to fit. If you're pinching and pulling and having to really kind of zoom in to see information on a website, usually that's a tall tale sign of it not being 100% mobile responsive. Also, big one for me, call to action. Make it simple for people who visit your website. Know what you want them to do. Click to call, click for a free consultation, click to see case studies, click to see this, click to do that. Make it easy, right? So calls to action. Fast loading. This is as simple as it gets when it comes to talking about the different characteristics of a website, but it is the most important. Does it load fast? You have 5 seconds, according to Google, to keep somebody on your website or lose them to the next one. So is it loading in the proper amount of time? 99% uptime. Google looks for a 99.99% uptime, meaning that the servers that you trust to host your website and to make it work, is it making sure that it is never down? Are the servers ever down? So if it's anything below that, usually you're flagged from Google and it can be detrimental. Monthly updates. A lot of people think, oh, I don't have many updates. My website is what it is. But believe it or not, the back end of a website, which looks like a bunch of code, needs updated at least once a month. And then search engine practices. Does it have the keywords? But more importantly, is it communicating with the search engines? I can't tell you enough, the most important part of a website is communication. If it's not telling Google, or if there's something that's holding it back from describing what it is you do, you're not going to show up when it matters. Also, making sure that you're up to date with the Google Core Vitals, meaning that the little characteristics that Google's looking for, security, call to actions, these little things are up to date and you're staying on top of the ball. Usually, again, I said this before, a lot of us may have a company that's taking care of the website, but are they making sure that it is staying up to date and up to code? This is something that we love to kind of take a look at, and we find out real quick if there's been a website that's been up for a long time and nothing's been done to it on the back end. Because again, the back end you can kind of see is like an engine of a vehicle. That engine has to be tweaked and it has to be serviced for it to operate at its optimum capability.
Yeah, so just touching on the Google Core Vitals, that was a massive update last summer that basically focuses on a new set of standards between interactivity on your site. So is it easy to move around pages? Loading performance, so how quick is your site, because Google doesn't want to reward your site as the #1 search result if it takes forever to load your site and causes a bad experience. And also it measures the visual stability. So if you haven't updated your site since before last summer, then it might be a good time to take a look at it and see those type of standards, because that's going to be a lot of ranking factors moving forward in 2022.
And just a couple of the call to actions that we were kind of talking about on the last page. Again, just kind of touching on this again, those buttons make it easy for people to do something. You gotta kind of have to, with a lack of better terms, dumb it down a little bit when it comes to a website. You don't want to slam somebody with a ton of paragraphs on information. Make it simplistic, but more importantly, have a call to action, right? So click to call, click to email, chat functions. I can't tell you how much chat functions have improved over the past 5 years. But more importantly, how many clients actually interact with chat functions? So if you don't have a chat function, it is something to look into, just because it makes it simple for somebody to interact with your firm. And there's several different chat widgets out there that you have real people manning the chat, and you either that, or you can get a notification during business hours and you or an assistant may be able to actually get on the chat and live chat with people. Another thing is like appointment booking. so many people, especially since COVID, want to do things online, pay online, order online. This is number one thing that we always look for is, do you have the ability to at least request an appointment when it comes to your online presence and your website? This is one of the, also a huge vital that Google looks for, is making sure that you have something that can get a hold of somebody in your office to schedule an appointment. Also, the form fills. Who is on my page? What's going on with them? We can have the first name, last name, email, phone number, and what kind of case are you dealing with? Okay, having that is really nice because you get it in as a lead and you say, okay, this person went to my website, they looked at this page, and it captivated them enough to say, hey, I want to see if I have a case, or hey, can you help me in this area? It makes it very organized for you as a firm to be able to manage those. And so those contact forms are huge. And also the chat to text. A lot of times that chat widget can just stay online, or you can convert that over to where you get a text message on an app that has a designated phone number. Okay, a lot of times attorneys don't like to give their personal cell out because personal time is personal time, right? But if you have a secondary number that can give you a notification on your cell phone, then that really is what we've seen to be very optimal when it comes to communicating with clientele. So a chat widget is always huge. The next thing is talking about the importance of a strong website.
So it's really important to have a very strong and sound website. Jordan talked about the standards that you should run along with, and then also the call to actions. But the importance of having a strong website really gives you a web presence. It gives you basically a platform to showcase your expertise. So if you just want a big case in a personal injury case, or if you help someone out, if you're a family lawyer or different things, you can tell your story across those cases. So it helps people basically know that they're in good hands whenever they come to you. The SEO side of things is going to help Google put you in front of people that are searching for your type of services. So then you'll really target and attract the right type of clients that you want to work with. It also allows you to build a reputation and guide people to leave you reviews, which also pushes your reputation past that. Gives you a professional image. And then using all those types of call to actions that Jordan was just talking about allows you to take care of your existing clients because it keeps everything organized in one place, and also allows you to engage with people who are not your clients yet. And really, a strong website is a long-term asset. It's not just a build it once, set it, forget it, and then come back to it in 4 or 5 years later. You really want to be evolving your website periodically, a couple times a year, and working with a marketing firm or marketing agency to really push the long-term development of your site. So we've seen tons of sites that whenever you have poor website performance, it equals less clients. So if you have a bad user experience on your website, people are probably going to bounce off your website and go to a different firm's website pretty quickly. So if it takes forever to load, it's hard to access, you don't follow best practices on your website, it's probably pushing people away from you that are not your clients currently. It also reduces a fall in search engine ranking. So again, the Google Core Vital updates really pushes those 3 standards that we were talking about earlier. And if you're not keeping your site up to date, it's going to start bringing your listing down and pushing people who are following standards above you, which in return is a loss of traffic, which can directly impact on your revenue.
Absolutely. And with that said, websites can come in all different forms, shapes, and sizes. Really, at the end of the day, what a website's good for is painting the picture of your brand, who you are, what type of practices you do, and inviting those visitors to contact you. All right, that is what a good website does. So moving on, we're talking about, like I always call it the elephant in the room, because there's so many people that are like, oh, social media, I don't do anything with it. All right, I hate it. All right, I personally don't use it, so there's no way I can help my firm. And that can't be the furthest from being wrong, right? And what it really amounts to is, what does a good strategy look like? What is a really good and sound social media for a law firm look like? And we're going to kind of take a look at that today. So number one question I always ask firms when I'm consulting with them is, what is your social media strategy? Right? Do you have a strategy? A lot of people are, oh, I don't have a strategy. I really don't know. I don't want to have a strategy, right? And usually I always kind of call this on the report card, because it is on the report card of Google when it comes to showing up and ranking and building that clout and that trustworthiness of your firm online. But social media, having a strategy is so important, right? So we know that having a sound social media can drive 30% more traffic to your website. All right. And also, doesn't matter if you're a small firm or a huge firm, you can really paint the picture of who you are and your personality of the firm, and the types of practices you offer, and also huge bits of information you can give and kind of informing the people who see your social media and interact with it. 73% of marketers believe that social media is one of the most effective way to basically make brand awareness in your area, right? So if you really want to get out there, yeah, you can go buy a billboard, but Lord knows how much billboards are, right? You can also get online and do some Google ads or whatever it may be, but those can get very expensive very fast. The number one thing that we found is you can spend a very minute amount of money when it comes to social media to brand yourself, right? So the more that people know you, see you, the more that people will be enticed to interact with you. So one of the most important things is a lot of people are using video, and that is the number one thing that Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, that they're looking for, right? So figuring out a good strategy with video, it doesn't matter if it's just a moving post or if it's something that captures people's attention with a stock video. If you don't have a bunch of video, you're not going to pay somebody to do some production for you, don't worry about it. But if you have that, if you ran commercials, if you have an online presence, a video presence, whether you use it on YouTube or commercials on the TV, whatever it may be, those are perfect for social media, right? And also thinking like a client, thinking like a potential client. You don't want to slam people over and over and over with hire me, hire me, hire me, right? Come up with some kind of tip that's like, hey, here's a tip Tuesday, right? So if I'm a criminal defense attorney, I might say, hey, listen, these are your rights. If you ever get pulled over for XYZ, know your rights. And if you need help, call me, right? That's fine. Plug yourself for sure. But it is really nice to see that. There's a lot of firms that are missing out because they're not doing these things. And key engagement comes from the organic sense of social media. So people may not need an attorney every day, but when it comes time to, and they've seen you on social media over and over, and they just got into a car accident, and you're an injury attorney, you want to make sure that they remember you. And also failing to maximize the potential of content that they're creating. So a lot of people don't realize that content is everything, right? They're just putting things up there like, hire me for your criminal defense, hire me for your family attorney, getting divorced, hire me. You can do that, but a good sense is educating and enticing people to want to learn more, right? And that's all it's about with social media. And that's what you can really do. You can really paint the personality of who you are and who your firm is right there on social media. And so some of the best social media practices is just making sure you know who you're getting in front of. So defining your audience, right? So selecting the right platforms. If I'm using Instagram, what age group am I after, right? If I'm using Facebook, what age group am I after? If I'm using LinkedIn, what does that look like? Who am I after then, right? So I can obviously, with those three, just in a nutshell, Instagram is for the younger crowd, anywhere from 20 all the way up to mid 40s. They say Facebook is a usual really good spot for the 40s all the way up to the early 70s. And just a fun tip, the fastest growing generation on social media is people over the age of 70, which is kind of funny to know. Also, you can use these platforms to then define your clear and realistic goals, right? To understand if I'm looking for more family cases, if If I'm looking for more businesses to represent for all their endeavors, by all means, know where to go and know what to say and what type of posts you want to put in front of those people. You also want to create and capture content that speaks to your audience. Know your audience is number one, defining your audience, because you should know the characteristics and what these people like to do, where they may live, all these good things, and really kind of knowing that is essential for success on social media. Also create policies on how to respond to your audience. If people are sitting here messaging you and asking you these questions or leaving reviews on social media, knowing a really prompt way to message back or to respond to a review is vital to making sure that your online presence through social media is maximized. And then being able to measure your results, knowing that, okay, this post got in front of X amount of people and did X amount of things. What's great is Meta has a business suite, okay? And there's a huge difference between having a Facebook, an Instagram, a LinkedIn for your personal and for your business. There is a designated area to create a social media for your business on almost every platform. That allows you to understand who you're engaging with and who you're getting in front of and what tendencies are they doing? Are they going right past it? Are they clicking? What are they doing on it, right? So understanding the results and where you can find them. Again, Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, has a wonderful business suite where you can really see what's happening with all your posts. And it even comes with suggestions on when to post based on your best audience.
So it's also important to identify which platforms are relevant for your firm to be on. So Facebook is a great resource to put onto it, or have all your content go on to. We love LinkedIn. We love Instagram past that too. So LinkedIn has the professional feel that you want to represent your firm with. YouTube and YouTube ads, and we'll get into paid advertising here in a bit, but those are always a great place to talk about cases that you've won or different things and situations that people might be in. So that's a great place to put all your video content. And you always want to be looking for new platforms as well. So TikTok used to be more of a dancing app, and it's becoming a real strategy for firms. I mean, we have a local firm in Indiana here that really pushes their cases on TikTok, and they claim that they're getting a bunch of different organic leads and questions coming from it. So always be on the lookout for new platforms to get a competitive edge and kind of be the first ones on that platform for your industry. Boosting is also a great way to get in front of people that don't follow your pages. So boosting is basically, it increases your post visibility past that. It increases engagement on your posts. You can basically control who sees your posts. So Meta, LinkedIn, YouTube, they all have tons and tons of data. So you can, whenever you're running ads, you can be putting those ads in front of the people that you want to put them in front of. So it wouldn't make sense to run a personal injury ad in front of someone who's looking for a divorce lawyer. So you can get inside though, you can kind of take a look at that data that's presented to you and push it out to the people that you want it to be in front of. It also helps you customize your content per audience. So like Jordan was saying, per platform has a different age group. So you can adjust it to the platform to that type of audience past that.
So that was just a little bit on social media. A lot of times it's always good. One of the best practices I can always say is to look at other firms, whether it's in your neck of the woods or not, and see what they're doing on their social media. You will see a lot of really good content come from a lot of bigger, larger firms that might help a smaller firm or vice versa. There are edges that you can really kind of get when it comes to a good social media. So keep that in mind. Next thing is search engine optimization. Again, SEO. This is a multi-billion, if not trillion-dollar industry worldwide. There's so many companies that want to help you with your SEO and want to do this for you. Make sure you're showing up first on Google. In all reality, there are so many ways that you can help do this yourself, and it's being proactive with SEO. SEO is kind of like a big picture. It's saying, okay, showing up first on Google, right? Okay, that's the overall goal, but how do I get there? So piecing these little pieces together is what we're going to kind of talk to you about today.
So what is SEO? So SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's the process of taking steps to help your website or piece of content rank higher on Google. So search engine optimization, which is the process of getting traffic from free, organic, editorial, or like natural search results is SEO. It really improves to aim your website's position in the search engine rankings. And it's the higher the website is listed, the more people that will see it. So how does SEO work? So the picture to the left here really identifies the organic versus paid. So paid's always going to be at the very top of the list most of the time. And then the rest of it is the organic factors on it. So good SEO involves really many different activities. So making sure that your website has relevant keywords with good search traffic potential. You're creating high quality, useful content and optimizing it for search engines or users. So it used to be get as much content on your site as possible. Now Google wants to see you producing more quality content to put on your site to push to their users, so the users aren't scrambling around to find an answer. So you really want to add quality content to it. You're including relevant links from high quality sites. So backlinks is a big component. You want reputable sites pushing people from their site to your site. So the backlinks is important. And then also measuring the results and adjusting everything past that. We talk about measuring results a lot, but taking a look at what people do on your site and do past that and studying how you can optimize your site even more is going to directly push more a better ranking with the search engines.
And just talking about some of the tools to help improve on SEO. Again, at the end of the day, it's very simplistic. It's not rocket science, but it is an equation, right? So each of these factors in this equation is really information that is shared from your either website or Google page or whatever it may be to the actual search engine, right? So it has to be there. The number one, just step one is improve your on-site SEO. Make sure that the keywords are in the exact format it needs to be on a website. Step two, add LSI keywords to your page. What an LSI keyword is, it's a latent semantic indexing. So that's what LSI stands for. Keywords, which are words related to a main keyword that are seen as relevant. So for instance, you're a family attorney, that might look like divorce, adoption, so on and so forth. So having these are huge, making sure that you're continuously measuring what you're putting as far as your LSI keywords on the back end of your website to communicate with the search engines, because the biggest thing is everybody searches differently. I might be looking for a pizza spot and I might type in best pizza in Long Beach, right? Somebody else might type in pizza restaurant near me. So it doesn't matter what people are typing in, they just need to have that communication that if somebody types in any of these different LSI keywords, they're related back to your page. Monitor your technical SEO. That's just making sure that it's not just one platform that has all these different keywords, but you're sharing those throughout the entire web. Match your content to the search intent. So for instance, if I know that I want to target the main search that's done in Beverly Hills when it comes to a car accident, I can actually figure out what people are typing in by Google's different algorithm information that you can actually get. A lot of this is public information. So making sure your content matches with what people are actually typing in. Reduce your bounce rate. Really a big thing with reducing the bounce rate is loading fast and making sure that once the content loads, it's not just gobs and gobs of information, but it's really easy to maneuver and they can click to call and click to do things, right? Find even keywords to target. So a lot of the times keywords, let's just say the top 100 keywords, all right? I wanna make sure I'm targeting the ones that make the most sense. And so you can actually do a lot of research yourself on figuring out what are the main keywords I need to be researching, or to be targeting, ensuring that my website is the one that shows up, right? Publish insanely high quality content. So essentially what the high quality content is, it may be a blog post. It may be something that has a lot of emphasis with keywords built within it. So, blogging, a lot of people think this is a thing of the past. It may be for a lot of SEO tactics, but it's still relevant more than ever. And having a blog is really important. Having built backlinks for your site. So knowing that I am on, the top 150 different search engines out there, and having and making sure that's all the same information, and making sure that all of them will backlink to my site. The more that my site's out there, it's kind of like a popularity contest. The more that my website is on a platform, the more popular I am and the more trustworthy I am in Google's eyes. And then track and monitor your results. There's so many ways that you can kind of do an SEO checker yourself. There's many tools online that you can find to see, am I up to date? So the next one is going to search engine marketing. So SEM and SEO are very similar. Actually, they both help each other out. More importantly, SEM, which is search engine marketing, is something that it is paid. This is advertising. It is marketing. All right. So I am targeting different key searches within certain zip codes to make sure I am showing up. The more that people type those keywords in, and the more your site shows up, and the more users are clicking on your site as the first click from that keyword search, the more that you're going to show up for that organically. So this is a dual-edged sword. I love SEM. If you don't have this in the arsenal right now, it's something to definitely look forward into.
So there's two paid advertising strategies that we like to push on. The first one we'll talk about is Google Ads. So Google Ads has been around for quite a bit. Really, it's just the ads that are the paid spot. If you remember back on the slide, a couple slides ago, it was the organic versus paid. So that's the Google Ads portion of it. Really, its sole focus is to run ads on keywords that we are trying to get in front of people. So if somebody's looking for personal injury in Baltimore, then we're going to want to be serving those types of paid ads, or those types of paid keywords on it. And if we want it to drive website results, we want it to push more people to actually click on the ad to call you. And if you want people to come to your firm to have an in-person consultation, then we're going to want to route them via this ad to your actual location. The other one that has sprung in huge popularity over the last year is the local service ads from Google. So this is basically a way for you to get a Google badge that clients can trust you on. So it's a Google screen program. So we'll send in your bar association, you'll send in various types of information on your firm, headshots, stuff like that, that Google can verify that you are an actual legit firm. And then they'll basically publish it on, and you'll add a paid advertising campaign behind it, but you'll show up at all the right times. So it's at the very top if you search in your current area. There'll probably be different types of lawyers running ads like that. And the biggest part of this that I know Jordan will talk a little bit about as well is you only pay for the results. So what it's doing is it's tracking these phone calls and these messages past that, and you're allowed to identify that this wasn't the greatest lead, or this was a spam call, or this was a sales call. And if they screen it past that and realize it was, they won't charge you for it. If it was a legit lead and it turned into a customer or a client, then you'll have to pay for it. But at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to push for anyways. We're not trying to push for clicks. We're trying to push for actual results. So local service ads are probably the #1 search engine campaigns that we see the most effectiveness from too.
Yeah, and just kind of touch up on that. It's nice to know that every click doesn't mean I'm paying for it. Traditional Google ads, every click you pay for, and 25% of clicks can be spam, right? It can be a bot, it can be somebody else. A lot of that budget is just thrown away. So whenever it comes to the local service ads and showing up in a local area and showing up at the very top as Google screened, meaning Google's already checked your background, it really establishes a lot of trust in your firm, makes it easy for a click to call for a consultation. But most importantly, you get a dashboard that records the call, and it obviously lets the person know that it's recording, and it's a Google number that it gives you for this service. So it might not actually be your number, but it leads to your firm's number. And at the end of the day, you get to kind of judge if this was quality or if it wasn't. And if it wasn't, you report that or you dispute it, and you don't pay for that lead. Best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, it's a huge component of it. I mean, if the ability to contest whether the lead was good or not is a huge part of these new local service ads. I mean, if you get 100 calls from this and 10 people were just spam calls, I mean, that saves you $500 a month alone on that type of stuff, depending on the keywords. But
and kind of to Austin's point is these keywords can mean different budgets, right? So injury law may be more costly than let's just say something that deals with a business firm or somebody who is doing practicing family law, right? So at the end of the day, you're paying every time that somebody's coming in, but how much should I pay? So upon massive amounts of data that we've gathered, doing a lot of first party data ourselves, it's saying how much should I spend? The answer is 7 to 10% of your total revenue, or at least your targeted growth from the previous year. So if I grew by 100,000, 200,000, I need to spend 7 to 10% of that over the next year to make sure that I am growing again next year and the year after and the year after. Obviously maintaining or staying at the size you are, or at least being able to pick and choose the cases you take on, because you only have so much time during a day. So if you're taking on cases just to keep you busy, this is a really good way to ensure that I'm getting cases that I would take over any other case that's taking nothing but the amount of my time to do. And I'm not wasting my time at that point, right? So 7 to 10% is the answer. And what should you get on return? Guys, this is very simple. For every every $1 that I spend, I should be making $2 on. That's minimal, right? We're always looking to improve on strategy and on making sure that if I'm paying something, it is closing and it brought me in 10 times the revenue I spent on it. Whatever it may be, at the end of the day, if you lose some clients, you don't end up signing them, but you paid for them, the ones you paid for should equal out to where every $1 I spend, I'm making $2 on. That's a minimum. So guys, we got about 12 minutes left. So we're going to kind of speed through these last couple slides so we can get to questions. But this is the most important of all of these things. Good, this kind of goes into the Google My Business, which I also said is the most important, but this is kind of an aspect of it. And it is generating reviews. I can't tell you enough how important it is. Actually, I can tell you, we'll go over these in the next slides. So many people don't even understand or realize that they have reviews out there. Google has made reviews public. They want people to interact with a business online and leave reviews for the next people who are finding them. This can hurt you or help your firm. If you have a 1-star review and didn't know about it, doesn't mean that you can't still respond or say that, hey, this is not somebody I've ever taken care of, and report it to Google. That's why the Google My Business is so important, because if you have these Google reviews and half of them don't even make sense because you don't know these people, they might be looking for a different firm and left a review on your page, there's ways that you can take to make sure that you can dispute those and make sure that you're only getting reviews that mean something, right? So biggest thing with the reviews, why are they important? Literally we say everyone looks at them. Some people don't, but they can't see you online without seeing at least your overall score, right? So I know I have a 5 scale on Google, and I can see where I stack up as soon as somebody Googles my firm. All right. So the big thing is it's the social proof that drives in bookings. This is word of mouth on steroids. All right. A lot of attorneys that we deal with say, hey, my strongest asset that I have are my current or past clients. They always send me people. That's fantastic. I never want that to leave. This can serve as just as an important piece of that, because there's a lot of your current or past clients that will leave you a 5-star review, and somebody who's looking for you might read their review and say, you know what, this is fantastic, right? The biggest thing is they make you more visible on Google. This helps your search engine optimization on Google more than anything else, is your reviews. So the more reviews I have that are 5 stars, the more I'm considered a 5-star criminal defense attorney in Beverly Hills, wherever, right? So a lot of people are like, well, I don't really know how to do this. I don't want to spend time on this. All you can do is ask. You know, the one of the oldest sayings is a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So if you ask people who will happily go on there and leave you a review, do so, right? Have some kind of strategy that involves asking for a review. All right, whether it's when the case closes or whether it's with another attorney that sends people your way, because every time they're looking for this type of law, they don't practice it, so they refer them to you, right? Those attorneys are perfect candidates to leave you 5-star reviews. Friends, family, anybody who would send a client your way are really good to send, are really good sources to leave 5-star reviews for you. It makes your firm look more trustworthy. It's all about the appearance, and first appearance and first impression is the most important thing, and you can never earn it back, right? It's always one and done. I got one chance for a first impression. It's got to be great. So if you're not where you want to be online, there's a lot of tactics you can get there to be a 5-star firm. Also, turning your clients into conversation. So this might be something where they've read something, a specific case, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, they do this is exactly what I was looking for. So it might spark a conversation. And consumers are heavily dependent on reviews. They want to make the right decision. If somebody's taking a shot in the dark and calling a random firm for a life-changing event, because it's usually why people hire attorneys, making sure that happens can happen from reviews. One of the most important parts of and pieces of an online presence. And then, you know, the biggest thing is you can respond to these reviews. If you see here on the right side of the page, Thad Robinson left a 5-star, really good review saying that they dealt with professionalism, right? And then the response from the owner is something you can do on your Google My Business page. You can respond to every single review you get. I always say that a 1-star review is only a 1-star review if there's no response from the owner. You got to be able to know exactly what to look for and how to respond to these. You might have very, very basic responses, and that's okay. But the 1-star all the way up to the 5 stars deserve a response. So we heavily talk about Google because it is the most important platform. Again, it's a double-edged sword. People will read them. People will see them. It affects your overall score, and it affects where you rank on Google when people are typing in keywords.
So reviews could really be a whole webinar, but so we're kind of running on time here, but there's tons of different generation techniques to give reviews. So there's a bunch of platforms that you can send out SMS or text message reviews to people. Those are pretty, text messages are a 99% open rate, so those are always get seen very well. You can include widgets on your website to push people towards the Google My Business to leave reviews. You can do email requests from people. You can call your old clients, friends, different things like that. Or you can even have QR codes on flyers, business cards, or any type of print material that someone would see, scan it, and it goes directly to your Google My Business.
So with all this said, we've kind of gone over all the puzzle pieces of a good online presence. We're going to talk about how to measure those with good analytics.
So all of these platforms have an analytic dashboard for you to look into. And if you're not taking a look at or taking time to look at these type of analytics, you're missing on optimizing all of your forms of advertising to the best experience that it can be. So you can use this type of analytics to get to know your visitors very well and enhance their user experience. So if people are staying on a page on your website longer than another page, it's probably beneficial to take a look at the page that's not performing as well and take a look at the page that is and optimize the page that isn't to match the same amount as the other page. So you know your best content and focus on it. So if a specific service of yours online is generating more leads, then maybe you should focus a lot of your time on that whenever you're optimizing it. Constantly optimizing your site based off of your analytics and performance does help your SEO over time. You can track top referrals across stuff and build more strategies around them. So if your analytics say that more people are being pushed to your site from Google than Facebook, then you should probably spend some of your search engine marketing dollars on Google versus Facebook. It also tracks all your click to calls, your emails, your bounce rates. There's just a lot of beneficial information in these types of dashboards that you should be looking at every single month.
The biggest thing for analytics to me is that, you know, with traditional marketing, the traditional senses of before the whole computer movement and the cellular telephone device movement was, you know, it was kind of a guessing game. You knew that a certain avenue was very busy, and, you know, it's really nice to have a billboard up, but a lot of times you couldn't track what your money's doing if you're spending money for advertising. Anything you do online, you should be able to track it to the exact T of what you're doing, what's coming back in return of that. So what your return of investment is and what we need to do moving forward, right? So it's amazing. So with all that said, you know, if you have some of these puzzle pieces in play right now, that's fantastic. A lot of times people are doing this themselves, but there's most of the time, you know what, that hat you wear to be your own web developer might become a little bit crowded with all the other hats you wear, right? So this is why a lot of firms like ours come in and we represent our clients to the best of the abilities and the best practices. So just a little plug on us, Prime Legal. At the end of the day, we help firms grow. If you're not wanting to grow and just maintain where you currently sit, we'll help you maintain as well, right? But the biggest thing that we do is we really paint your personality of who you are, and we can manifest the goals you have for your firm and surround those with the tactics online that are proven to work and that are proven to be tracked every single month in and month out. You're going to know if this thing works. It's hard to lie about something that is not working, right? Because you see the numbers. But when it is working and everything is working in unison, it is a beautiful thing. And again, majority of us have all of these pieces, and we all might be dealing with a company right now. Best thing we can do is we can run a digital audit for you. All right. This is why a lot of these bar associations will partner with us, is because we will run these hassle-free, whatever you want to call it, digital audits. And what they're going to do for you is really show you and hold accountable the company you're working with, or show you how your work is doing, right? So a lot of us have these companies they're doing the stuff for us. It's really nice to take your vehicle that they put you in and take it into the mechanic and see, okay, what's going on? Can I give a nice little basic overview, a 101-point check on what's going on with this vehicle that I'm driving from XYZ company? All right, so we will go through and actually see what do you look like online? How is your website looking? What's the performance of your website? What is your social media doing, right? If you're doing any kind of paid advertising, what's that doing for you? It looks on it not only from a national scale in comparison to all the leaders in the industry, but also on a local scale and a regional scale. And it's also going to take the best practices of Google and give you a report card on where your firm currently sits. Whether somebody does business with us, or they take all the information we give them and they take it back to their old company or the company they're working with, neither of those matter to us. We just want to make sure that the members of the association we're dealing with are getting the best, most quality products and services out of their online presence. A couple things we do, guys, we do this all. We do the whole thing. A lot of times people can do this themselves. Everybody here graduated law school. It takes a little bit of smarts to do that, but we do web design. We help with billing, automated billing where people can log in and pay their bill online or pay their retainer or whatever it may be. We do search engine optimization. We do paid ads. We help generate more reviews. And we have automated booking tools to make it easy for more clients to get in front of you. Guys, that's it. So if there's any questions, comments, concerns, we will open the floor up and answer to the best of our abilities. All right, actually, I got a couple of Q&As that were typed in. One said, how should I deal with a one-star review? A one-star review can be detrimental, right? It can really hurt personally and also to your firm online. The best answer to that is making sure that you are taking the correct steps. First off, was this person legit or is it a competitor, right? There are literally, whenever it's on Google, there's spots where you can actually report the review and you can put it to where it's in question and it will be sent off to Google to actually see, okay, what's going on with this review? Was it legit? Also, you can respond to that, right? So responding to the actual review itself is one of the most important things you can do, right? You can say, Sherry, I'm so sorry you felt this way. However, according to my records, I never represented you in any case. I would appreciate it if you took this one-star review down because I have never represented you in any kind of legal matters. So that's huge. You want to take the next one, Austin?
Yep, it says, can you cite studies that compare Google search engine marketing advertising to actual physical space? So I would imagine billboards and different types of stuff. I think, yeah, we can most definitely follow up with those types of the links to those types of studies. So yeah.
Yeah, we have a ton of info.
Yeah, any handouts? Yes, we have. We can get those over to everybody too. One is, do we work with individual attorneys who work for a firm but not firm owners? We work with everybody across the board. Should I try and respond to 5-star reviews? I think you should respond to every single review. Like Jordan was saying, it's really important to respond to not only the 5-star reviews, but also the 1-star reviews, because it shows how you're going to engage when something doesn't go specifically the right way. How do we reach you? We'll follow up with all those materials after that as well.
Yeah, and like Austin was saying one time on that 5-star review, it's never too late to respond to a 5-star review. I don't care if it was 10 years ago, respond to it, right? It shows proactiveness on Google. The next one was, do you have a price list of services programs? So what we like to do is we like to go through and run the digital audit to see if you have needs. If there's somewhere where you're absolutely doing an excellent job, there's no sense in paying for it. So we have so there's two types of practices when it comes to digital marketing. You can pay somebody one time, one and done, and then it's yours. And you pay hourly for fixes, changes, and all that good stuff. And it's just going to depreciate just like a vehicle. If I go buy a brand new vehicle, 2 years from now, it's not brand new anymore, right? So we do a monthly service model where there is a monthly cost to each of the platforms and services that we perform. But that allows us to continuously maintain and continuously work on every single bit of your online presence every single month. And the people who have a company who's paying attention and actually knows what to do on the back end of your website, it's just going to morph into more clients that you're desiring, right? That specific clientele that you're looking for. So we see the monthly service model as the best because we are entitled to continuously maneuver and move things around online as they continuously update through Google. So at the end of the day, we find that to be the best just because there's a lot of companies that can nickel and dime, and then you're left with something that just ages and gets out of date.
And then the last question is, are there any materials from this webinar that we can download? Correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan, but this should be posted on the Bar Association's website as other forms of different things too. And once we get the recording, we'll be sure to put it on the actual Prime Legal site as well.
Correct. That is correct. And guys, just a last plug. If you go to findmorecases.com, findmorecases.com/BHBA for the Beverly Hills Bar Association, you will be able to fill out a form there if you want to schedule any kind of consultation with us to see where you currently sit and if there's any kind of room for improvement. It's the best thing in the world to take just a minute out of your busy practice and see what your online presence is doing for you. Because a lot of times a lot of attorneys swear not necessarily by the online presence because they don't necessarily have one established yet. And that's completely fine. It's not that you're not successful, but we know the easiest basket in basketball is a layup. And when somebody's looking for an attorney and you pop up and you get hired because they read your reviews and you showed up first, it's like a layup, right? And us being from Indiana, the layups is what we want, right? That's what wins ball games. And John, the last question there, general web consulting. Yes, we do web consulting, and we will consult with you guys. Usually we do have a retainer for that, but because we're endorsed by the Bar Association, that's part of what you get being a member of the BHBA. But if there's any other questions, or if you guys ever have anything else you want to address, by all means, go on to our website, findmorecases.com/BHBA, fill out your information, and we will contact you and get a hold of you and run the consultation with you and kind of show you where you currently sit online. Awesome. Well, thank you for everybody being on here today. Hopefully everybody at least learned something. I always try to have at least one thing I learn new every day. So hopefully you learned something new today, and this can be it, right? Other than that, it's been a pleasure. We love working with the Beverly Hills Bar Association. And, you know, one big thing about our company is we're all about quality. Okay, quality, quality, quality. So if you want quality out of your firm and quality out of your web presence, have a company that quality is the #1 driving factor.